Well, end the inflation tax on everything, but for heaven's sakes, end the inflation tax on capital gains. My pal Grover Norquist, writing in the Wall Street Journal, joins us now to talk about it. Welcome, Grover. A longtime president of Americans for Tax Reform. I don't hardly have to say that. Grover, why do we have to be taxed on inflation, on the devaluation of the dollar? It's bad enough we're taxed on everything else. Why this? Why doesn't this ever get changed?
We don't have to, and the good news is I think we can. If the Republicans push this between now and the election, it does two things. It reminds people that Biden created the inflation, and it reminds them that their capital gains will be taxed, not just the real part of the gain of your house, of your land, of stocks, but the inflation tax tremendously increases the tax on capital gains and does all the damage that a high capital gains tax rate does. The good news is we came close 3 times in recent American history to ending the tax on capital gains, the inflation tax. In 1978, it passed through the House but didn't get across on the Senate. In 1982, it passed the Senate, but not yet the House. And then in 92, it did the Senate, but not the House. And Schumer, who runs the Senate now, spoke eloquently about the importance of ending the inflation tax on capital gains. So this could be a bipartisan thing that's pro-growth. It is important that Republicans bring it up, remind everybody before the election, because then it could be doable after the election.
So just to make sure folks get this now, first of all, as you and I have talked, 58% own stocks, that, I don't know, whatever that comes to, 125, 130 million Americans. So this is not small potatoes. Your tax, you have a real rate, which Biden tried to jack up, but he didn't, at least not so far. But you're also taxed on the inflation rate on top of the real rate. Yeah. You know, that could, I mean, in terms of taxing in real terms, that could get you over 100% marginal rate. And there's no reason for that. All that does is kill investment, kill jobs, kill wages, and kill growth. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you could have property that doesn't increase in real value at all, but with inflation, it looks like it doubled. You pay taxes on the imaginary gain. That's what the inflation tax on capital gains is. Reagan ended the inflation tax on wages, but it remains there on capital gains.
So, Grover, you think you said between now and the election, you just want to make the issue visible, is what you're saying. It hasn't gotten enough. Enough visibility.
Yeah, but it does two things. It reminds everybody that Biden created this inflation and that he's profiting from it in higher taxes on you and everybody else. But after the election, when some people have been asked to go take a new job somewhere, someplace else, we have a real opportunity, again, because this used to be a bipartisan position when the Democrats were a little more moderate. They may be willing to do something that's pro-growth and anti-inflation after the shellacking they're likely to take on the 8th of November.
Well, that's an interesting point. You know, I don't know whether Biden's going to react to the shellacking or whether the Democrats will. But I think fundamentally it's important what you're raising. I think that's why your piece was so good. Grover Norquist, Americans for Tax Reform. Stop taxing inflation as well. I'm Kudlow. We'll be right back.